This would have been 74. It was in my first year in St. John's. Don't forget I went there in the autumn, the academic year 73, 74, and that was the first. And John, just very kindly, I think he might have had some business himself on the shore. He might have wanted to check out something, because John, like any academic, was constantly writing and publishing, and so to go back down the Cape Shore, I went with him, just myself and himself, and it was a visit, dropping in here and there. We travelled the 75 miles, I think roughly, I can't remember the distance, from St. John's to Placentia, on Placentia Bay, so it would be southwest of St. John's. And we called in to have a sandwich and something in the local hostelry there. There wasn't much in the way of hostelries, but there was the one. And there was an older man there. In Ireland we would call him a countryman. He would be a black outfit and a cap. And it was Ned Keefe, or Ned O'Keefe, from, I think it was Little Barrisway, which is the first settlement you meet on the Cape Shore. And he was up to see the doctor. And John knew him and he introduced me to him. And I got chatting to him and we talked about this, I can't remember, but I talked about the songs that the people sang, and 1798 Rebellion came up. Perhaps a song was mentioned, I can't remember. But I said, did you ever hear the song Boule of Vogue? To see what... Oh, I did, he said, yeah, I've heard of that song. I said, did you ever hear of a place called Scullabogue? Just because it rhymed with Boule of Vogue. Oh, I did, he says. I nearly fell off the chair. Scullabogue was a terrible incident and that horrible. There was a great sectarian element in the war in Wexford at that time. Rather nasty, 1798. And Scullabogue was there, a barn there on a farm, and a whole lot of Protestant families and others were imprisoned there. And when the Battle of Ross was over and the 98 men were defeated and were sent scurrying from the place, dreadful disaster, somebody came running out and said, you know, that they're killing all the Catholics. And somebody said, we'll set fire to this barn. And they did. And something like, we don't know how many people, about 100 were killed. There were some Catholics in it who worked for the Protestant families, the big family farmers. But here was this man telling me this story like it was just from yesterday. And that was my introduction then to the memory of people on the Cape Shore. Then there was Caroline Brennan farther down in Ship Cove. And I found out that they talked about the past as if it was only like yesterday. That the oral tradition, or remembering things of people that came there earlier on, and stories from the Wexford and Waterford, which was where they all came from, within a 40-mile radius of Waterford City, that's where they all came from. And so those stories and memories were vivid. And the other thing, of course, Ned O'Keefe talked in an Irish accent, of course. No North American, as you know, there was no North American accent at all, no hint of it. And it was pure Southeast Ireland. And so that was my introduction. I said, well, that certainly got me interested. Ellen Emma Power, she sang a song about the boys of Galmoy.
Yes.
Famous incident. And again, they wouldn't have a clue where Galmoy was, but the song came over with them, you see. And the incidents that took place in Ireland. And people like Caroline Brennan would have more information and more precise about where they came from in Ireland. The Cumric Mountains.
Yeah.
And Neddy Brennan and the Tobins, they came from around Fidown, wherever that is. She said Fidown, County Waterford. So it's in the Waterford-Kilkenny border. But this is the heartland of where they came from, you see. And oh no, I had no big plan for recording people. I just simply went in there. They obliged me and I enjoyed it. I was having fun. So between my studies and my work with CBC and being a family man looking after a family and growing children, I made trips down there regularly. I'd go on my own in the car, and people got to know me and know the car. They saw the car and knew what was going to be happening. O'Hara would be there, the man, a real Irishman they called him, and he would be recording things. That's how it started.